Hey friends, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Mira Scarlett, and today I'm going to show you how to make a cute fitted face mask, but with an added bonus. It's going to have cute little devil horns. I actually got the idea for this after seeing a TikTok by Ginger Wifey wearing the mask, and then after doing a little bit more research, I found out that the creator of the mask that she had purchased was Bobby Nama on Instagram, and you can actually buy the cat ear version that she creates by sending her a DM on Instagram, so if you have to be interested in that. But that's what inspired my idea to make a devil horns version. So yeah, I'm going to just kind of walk you through the process of how I made mine, and if you guys happen to be interested in a pattern, let me know in the comments below and I will see what I can do about creating one. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so for this project I have made my own pattern. I've got a pattern for the fitted face mask, I have a pattern for the band, and then for the little devil horns as well. Then you're just going to need your thread of choice. You're going to need some bias tape for the ties. When I first made this, I actually used elastic and it did not work well, so I highly suggest using bias tape instead. Of course, you'll need your fabric scissors, your fabric of choice, and a ruler, and your sewing machine. In addition to that, you'll also need some interfacing. And then yeah, the last little thing you'll need is interfacing. So yeah, I'm going to show you how we put this whole thing together. So I'm going to start with the actual face mask. I have already created a video on how to make a fitted face mask, so I'm not going to go into, like, I don't know, maybe I'll go, we'll see. But if you have any other questions about it, you can always refer to that other video, just in case I miss anything here. So I am actually, for this one, I didn't add a filter pocket to the original one I made, but I'll go ahead and add a filter pocket to this one. So I'm going to fold my fabric in half. So for this fitted face mask, you're going to need to cut out 4 pieces. So since we have it folded in half, we'll cut this out twice. So let's see. I'm going to get it like over here and make sure my pieces aren't like uneven. Definitely don't want to cut out a piece and then end up, you know, not being able to use that piece. Okay, so here we go. I'm just using my rotary cutter for this. Now we have these 3 pieces. I'm going to make this one the filter pocket, and so what I'm going to end up doing is cutting off about maybe an inch, probably just half an inch, because then it's going to also be folded in on the sides. So let's cut off a half an inch here, and then we're going to end up sewing all of these together. So just along this curve, we're going to sew all these together. I like to try to get away without using pins, but I'm going to use pins just for the sake of the demonstration, you know? All right, and then on the curve, we're going to be sewing it at 1/4 of an inch. Right, so then that gives us these 3 pieces. And then we also need to clip the curve so that it lays nice and flat. And then after that, we are going to iron that. So yeah, this will just make it so that the curve is going to lay nice and smooth, at least as smoothly as possible. All right, then we're going to iron them down, and then for the one for the filter pocket, we're going to end up taking the sides in and folding them twice. So iron the curve and then fold those out. And as I said, I do already have a video kind of going over all of this, so feel free to refer back to that if you need a little bit more in-depth explanation. Okay, then we're just going to sew these sides down for the filter pocket. Alright, so here's our filter pocket layer. So you can see it's a bit shorter than the other ones, and then we've got those sides laid down. Then we have our lining and our top. So what I'm going to do is, this is going to be our lining, it's going to be our filter pocket, and they're going to be matched up. So these are going to be matched here. And then we're going to have the top facing down. So these two are right sides together, matching those seams. And then the top one is going on like this. Actually, let me get my Wonder Clips. Sometimes it's a little bit easier to use the Wonder Clips on this part. So then you've got your filter pocket kind of sandwiched in between there, so that when we turn it right side out, everything is going to be assembled the way that we want it. And then once this is all taken care of, we'll be able to move on to the actual horns headband part and show you how it all kind of fits together. And then we're just going to sew, now that it's all pinned and we've got it sandwiched the way we need it, we're just going to sew along the top and the bottom. Okay, and then just to get some of that bulk down, I'm going to trim down the top, the seam allowance at the top, just to make it less bulky on the inside. There's no reason to have all that extra stuff on there. Good, good, good. There we go. And this is totally optional, but it just makes it look a little bit cleaner, especially for when we're like going to be top stitching later. So yeah. There we go. So we've got it looking like this. So now, let's see. There we go. So we're going to turn it out this way. Turn it right side out. And then that's going to leave you having this nice outside here, and then you've got your filter pocket in here as well as the lining. So now I'm gonna just press it really quickly, then we're just gonna top stitch it, and yeah, then we should be able to move on to the horns next. There we go. So yeah, that's just gonna help it keep its shape a little bit more. And I will get ready to serge these edges in just a little bit, but let's go ahead and move on to the actual devil horns. All right, so for the actual horns themselves, this is the pattern that I created for the band. So I'll be cutting 2 of this one and 1 of this one. So we're gonna cut out 1 of these. All right, so I've got my 2. These are going to be for the top of the band, and that's actually where the devil horns are going to be sandwiched, and then this is going to be the bottom of it. Now, let's cut out our devil horns. Where is my pattern for that? Here it is. So this is my pattern for the devil horns. You're going to need to cut out 4 of these because each one is going to need 2 pieces to sandwich between. So I'm trying to use as much of my scraps as possible for this part. All right, so I got my 2 horns. So I got these 2 pieces here. And then what we're going to do before we sew the horns up together is we need to cut out the interfacing that's only gonna be for the actual size of your finalized horn. Whereas these have like the seam allowance and everything with it. So, all right, so this is what I'm gonna be cutting my interfacing out of. So that's gonna end up being fit snug, like right in the middle of the horn piece. So we're gonna cut out 4 of those. I'm gonna try to just do it the easy way. Get them all cut out at once. And I think I'm going to cut out that interfacing too, because I think that's going to help them stay up nicely. There we go. All right, so here's this. Oh, and then since it was cut on the fold, do like that. And actually, I cut out 4 pieces, which you can use, but I'm a derp, and I actually only used 2 in my original design, so that's what I'm going to end up doing. So, yeah, that was dumb. Anyway, so you really only need the interfacing on one side. Let's see. Here we go. So I'm going to do like this. So the interfacing is going to be on this one and on this one. So we've got the glue side down here, and then you want it to be on just like this, and then you just follow the interfacing instructions and attach it or infuse it to here, and then we'll get ready to sew these together. All right. So now that you've got your interfacing fused here, you do want to wait for it to cool for just a moment before you handle it too much. Otherwise, there is a chance that the interfacing isn't going to want to stick properly. But once you know that everything is cooled down and good to go, what I like to do is sandwich them like this. So you're going to be doing right sides together. So you're looking at the wrong side of the fabric. The interfacing is going to end up being on the inside. So we're just going to sew all the way around close to this interfacing, and that's how we're going to get our nice detailed horn in the shape that we want. Add a little clip so it stays nice and in place, and then yep, we're just going to sew it together right along there. And I'll kind of show you what I did, since I don't have another camera to direct it right to my machine, unfortunately. But I'll show you what I did up close. So if you can see here, I just sewed very closely all the way around this. You can't see it because my camera does not want to work properly, so oh, haha, it did. So see, as you can see, I sewed just around that interfacing part here, and then I'm going to trim around the outside so there's not a bunch of extra bulk. And we're going to do that to both pieces. So see. So all right, here we go. Work it out. So then it turns out like that. So we're gonna press this really quickly. Quick press so that it lays nice and flat like this, as you can see. And then you're going to top stitch it, and I'm going to top stitch it on the side with so that the interfacing is on the back. So the top stitching is going to be right here. So you're just going to kind of go around it slowly. so that's one of the horns down. If you can see where I top stitched it. Are you gonna? There we go. So you can see how it looks nice and top stitched. And that's the back. Okay, so my camera died. I had to recharge my batteries, so I'm picking up where we had left off. So basically I got these two horns all finished. They are both top stitched and all ready to go. Are you gonna focus? There we go. Yep, they're both top stitched and ready to go. And as you can see, I've also folded down about 5/8 of an inch crease right there, because that's where they're going to be basically sandwiched on these pieces. And the way we're gonna do this is, let me see if I remember here. To get my placements right, I fold it in half once, and I'm just gonna iron that crease in to the halfway point like this. So you find that halfway point here, and then you're just going to take in each side, fold it here, and then crease right there. And that's where I get my placement points for the actual horns. So we're gonna place the horns on kind of this area. So facing this way, we're gonna kind of center the horns right here. Oh, just kind of, oh my gosh. Okay, all these extra strings are giving me a whole time. So let's just trim those a bit. Okay, so now we're going to put that right about there. Sorry, I'm standing up for this so I can make sure I can eyeball it a bit. So we're doing like this, so that that out right here. Look good right there. All right, so now that we've got these right in here, we're going to sandwich this over it just like this, line it up, and then just pin it together in place. And then we're just going to sew right along here. I'm going to sew about 5/8 of an inch from the edge. All right, and so now that we've sewn along that, what you're going to get now is this. So see, this is like the beginnings of the headband, you see? So see, it's all kind of starting to come together now. So what I'm going to do next is press this part out. And see, now we've got the beginnings of our little headband. So I haven't figured out a better way for doing this, so I apologize if this is a bit awkward. You might know of a better way to do this, but the way I'm going to do the next part is have this facing this way, then this is going to sandwich on top of this, just like that. All right, so we're going to kind of sandwich it like this, and then we're going to start sewing about here to here to here. So go ahead and pin that. And then we're gonna do that to the other side, but I'll show you how to kind of avoid accidentally sewing the ears themselves. So let's see, right here on this corner, I'm only doing 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. And then around the rest of it, I'm doing about 1/2 an inch. All right, so this is what we've sewn here. You can see along the top here is where we've sewn. I'm gonna autofocus at any point. See? So we've sewn a top there, and we've sewn close to here. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna end up just flipping the horns like kind of just in here, and just make sure they're not in the way of the next part that I'm trying to sew, which is up along here. But we are going to end up leaving a gap so we can turn this right side out. So this part is just a little bit tricky and finicky So basically I'm just making sure to stuff the horns in there, and I'm going to use pins for this because I want to make sure that the horns don't accidentally slip like right into my way, because you definitely don't want that to get caught in the machine. So yeah, just tuck each one of them just kind of in here, out of the way. Make sure it's just not within the seam allowance sewing area. And we're just going to do the same thing that we did to the other side, except as I said, we are going to actually be leaving a gap in the middle. So about here, maybe leave a 2-inch gap or so, because that's where we're going to be turning it right side out. So let's sew that. Oh, of course I forgot to leave the gap. Okay, it's fine though. Just like, oh, just keep on sewing. So if you happen to just do what I did, just, you know, seam rip a little bit right here so that you can open it up, and then I will turn it right side out. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove the pins. Let's get this little area opened back up. Just so you got enough room to get everything out. So see, we've got this little opening right here after we've sewn all the way around it. So now, time to turn everything right side out. Just be patient, it might take a little bit to get this tube right side out. As usual, it just takes a little bit of patience, you know. There we go. All right, I'm gonna use pin, which is closed, to just get those last parts out. There we go. And so basically this is what we've got currently, and it's gonna be sitting like this, so you can kind of see now. And yes, this is the front. So see how well everything is kind of like sitting up? So next step is I'm going to iron this down so it's going to be nice and flat. And then what we're going to be doing is we are going to top stitch all the way around this, except for right here. We're going to leave this part open. Okay, so next order of business is we're going to grab your ties. So I have 2 pieces of bias tape. These are about 1/2 inch. Yeah, this is 1/2 inch wide double folded bias tape. And I cut each one to be 36 inches long. You can definitely cut it shorter if you'd like, but I cut it longer, and I'll show you why in the end. But what I'm gonna do is actually, I didn't do this before, but I'm gonna do this time. I'm gonna sew down the bias tape so that it doesn't like open up, you know? Then we're gonna insert it into the mask, or into the headband, and then thread it through the mask as well. So let me show you. So I'm just going to do a straight stitch all the way down these bias tape ties, just so that they don't open up and get wrinkled and all that. So, and if you don't already have bias tape, you can easily make your own. I will link you guys to a video that I created kind of going over that. In fact, it was part of one of my other mask videos, so it might be something that you guys find helpful. There we go. All right, so that makes these ties nice and secure. So what I'm going to be doing next is we're going to be inserting the ties here into the end parts of our headband. So I'm just going to insert that, and then I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see this super well, but I was just going to kind of feed that in by about, like, I'd say 1 inch or so into it, so that it's, you know, got something to grip onto. And then what I do is I just take my scissors and I just kind of try to fold in right here those rough edges at the tip. Just fold those inside and around the bias tape, and I just use my scissors just to push that fabric into there the way that I want it to be in the area. But if you look closely, the raw edges are tucked in under there, and then we're just going to do a straight stitch across. Now that we've got these in, I'm going to be top stitching just all the way around. And that's also gonna seal up that little gap from earlier that we used to pull the headband right side out. Plus, it just makes everything lay nice and flat. It looks flattering, so. All right, so this is I would say, you know, out of the whole project, this is probably the harder part. Harder than making the actual fitted mask. But once you get a hang of it, you know, it's pretty straightforward. And then if you have any issue with like your ears kind of like being floppy, like see how one of mine is like kind of, you know, being finicky, just give it a good little press. See, and that makes them hold up very evenly. So this is what we've got so far. Now let me show you how we attach it to the actual mask. Oh yeah, and I forgot to show you guys, we do need to finish the mask right here. You see we still have our raw edges and everything. So I'm just gonna serge this really quickly. All right, so got my little serger. I know you can't really see it, but I'm just gonna serge these edges. If you don't have a serger, you can just double fold yours in. All right. So now that we have our rough edges encased, I'm just going to be folding this and sewing it down. I'm just going to iron it just so it makes it a little bit easier. And make sure that this is going to be wide enough here for your bias tape or whatever you choose to put through it, whether you do elastic, ribbon, anything like that. Make sure it's wide enough so that it can actually fit through. All right, and then I'm gonna top stitch on the outside by about 1/2 inch. Close to 5/8 of an inch for me personally. That's what I've done here. Here we go. All right. So now, so you can see with our mask, we've got these sides all encased, everything down here, and then we still have our filter pocket open here so that we can add a filter as we need. And then the final step is make sure that this is the top of the mask. Clear some space here so you guys can kind of see what I'm doing. So we have the mask right here. Then we have our headbands. We need to make sure we know which way is going to be the front. That's the back, I believe. So this is the front. So that's the front of our mask. So what I'm gonna do is take my bodkin right here. So it's just a little device that's used for threading elastic or ribbon through narrow channels. You can also just use a safety pin, whatever you have on hand. But I'm going to clip one end of the tie to my bodkin. And then all we're gonna do is from the top, put it down here through the ties. Hopefully I've got enough room in there for my bodkin. The bodkin's a little bit thicker at one point, but there we go. It still made it through. So then you see we're gonna thread that through just like this. Try to make it so that it doesn't tangle too much, like all that. There. Then we're gonna do the same thing to the other side. Take this end right here. Go, thread it through the top, down through the bottom, just like that. There we go. All right, and that is it, fully constructed. Let me do one last thing, which I suggest just tying off little knots at the bottom so that it doesn't accidentally, you know, doesn't come through your mask again or when you're washing it or anything, so it doesn't get detached. So just going to do that, and then bam! That is it, you guys. How you make the devil horn face mask. Now let me get all fancy and show it off, and let's see how it looks with like a legit outfit. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope that you enjoyed the video and the little walkthrough on how to make your own fitted face mask with little horns. And yeah, thanks so much for watching, you guys. If you have any questions, let me know. If you want me to create a pattern for this, please let me know in the comments below, and I will try to work on that. And yeah, I appreciate you so much for being here. If you want to check out my other videos and also stay updated on upcoming content, you guys can click that subscribe button as well as that bell notification so that you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. Oh, and also do not forget to follow me on social media. I am Mira Scarlet TV on Instagram, Twitter, as well as Facebook. I also have my own website, www.mirascarlettv.com. And if you'd like to check out my Patreon, it is patreon.com/mirascarlet. Thank you guys for all of the support. Thank you for being here, and I will see you next time. Bye!